Creative Katie here. Welcome to my version of the Index Card a Day 2019 Challenge. Create Daily Series. I'm using a week 6 prompt here, Thesaurus. And the techniques that I'm going to showcase are using DIY inspirational collage papers as an underpainting and working with modeling paste. So what you're looking at here are my collage papers, inspirational collage papers. And I'm going to put a link to the video where I show how I made these. But basically on here are words, positive words. And it ties into the theme, thesaurus, where I went words to the phrase or the sentiment that I'm using, words matter. We believe what we tell ourselves. And so on this collage sheet, I've typed words and messages, kind things that I'm going to tell myself. Or if I was doing this on a canvas, if I was gifting this to someone, these are my wishes for them. And it says, enjoy the journey, be gentle with yourself, dream big, live inspired, all positive things. In art and in life, we tend to be very critical of ourselves and we talk to ourselves horribly. And this is just a reminder that we need to treat ourselves well. So I'm applying this collage paper that is on deli paper to the entire background. And my hope is that when I put on paint and whatever I do on this iCAD, that these words are going to shine through. So I'm putting gel medium underneath, pressing it down, and then I'm going to put a coat of gel medium matte finish on the top. So I'm really enjoying the Index Card a Day challenge. I think I've done a fair number of the Daisy Yellow prompts as well as doing my own prompts and following my theme from my quote journal. So once that's dry, I'm just flipping it over and I'm going to cut off the excess. Now I could save these little bits and use them in collage if I want. I think they do end up in the garbage. But if I was doing a little bit of an ATC here, these would be just enough. And it would show up as a little bit of interest in a background. Now, because, always check the edges to make sure, because I don't know, no matter how careful I am gluing it down, I always seem right along the edges, it seems to come up. So I always just give it a little bit of a check and then make sure that that is all down. Now I put this onto a gessoed background. So it was just white. But if you had put it on a colored background, if you had colored the background first, it would show through, depending on how dark the color you chose to use. So I have this folk art stencil, Suzanne Splendor, and it has these interesting mandalas, and I'm using some modeling paste. And before I decide on the placement, I'm getting my sentiment, which simply is words matter. And I'm trying to decide where do I want the sentiment to go, and then from there, where am I going to put the mandalas? Because I want it to fit. I don't want to be too short. And I'm just putting a thin layer, applying it with a palette knife. Now, if you struggle putting on modeling paste with a palette knife, try using a key card or old gift card, credit card. I know for the longest time I used those to apply and I had a lot of success. Typically, I have to put the modeling paste onto the craft mat first and then onto the card. Instead of letting this dry, I'm just holding up the stencil so I don't mess up what I've already put down. Now, you can put the modeling paste before you color the page, or you can put it after. You're going to get a slightly different effect, and knowing now exactly where this page ends up, I think I may have been better served to put the modeling paste after the color, and then I would have not had to have colorized the modeling paste. But many times when I start creating, I don't know exactly what I'm doing or going to be doing. I don't have it all figured out ahead of time. But the benefit is when I'm doing the voiceover and looking here, I can shed a light what I'm thinking and maybe give you a better way or a different way if you were to try to do a similar thing. Now, my iCads obviously are not on index cards. I am doing my index card, my daily art journaling on repurposed Happy Planner. It's a mini Happy Planner. It measures approximately 5 by 7, which is roughly the size of some index cards. And it's less than perfect substrate. So I think I'm going along with the the general idea of the iCAD challenge that Daisy Yellow has. So now I'm putting 3 colors of Deco Art Americana paint. This is just regular craft paint, and I just wanted to show that you don't have to use thick body paint. You don't have to, because you watch me using my Liquitex Basics heavy body paint, that you have to go out and buy that. You can buy craft paint that you have. You know, try to use what you have. You know, I'd rather you would use that as opposed to buying more varieties of paint, you know, and then you don't have money for stencils or stamps that you can add to your artwork. Now I'm just doing a very light coating over top of this modeling paste to colorize it. And it's not getting as dark as I like. I'm not getting enough contrast. I wanted to keep it light because I want to see the words. But this part, as the focal image, I want to pop. So then I decide I'm going to put the stencil back on, you know, and that takes some doing sometimes because it doesn't necessarily just click on. And then I'm repainting. So if I had done the stenciling after I had colored it, it would be white and I would not have to be doing this step. And it's a less than perfect painting or in coverage of it. It's not, I don't get the stencil perfectly lined up, but you really can't tell. So this is a very soft page, which was my plan. So I just wanted that stenciling to pop a little bit more, which is why I coat it with white. You could have taken any color. I could have taken a darker teal and gone on the darker side. So to bring the white and to soften the whole thing, I'm thinning my white paint just with water, and you saw me spraying it, and I'm splattering. I use this fan brush, and it's a very loose fan brush. And this just kind of cools down the whole page and softens it. So I'm working on my Tim Holtz gloss media mat, and I take time to point that out. I've had many questions about it lately. It cleans up so easily. I spray it with my Murphy's Oil soap and water, and the paint just lifts right off, and I can wipe it off. Then I'm doing some splattering with some of the green paint or the teal paint that I have there, just for added interest. And you can see the words are showing through, and that's what I wanted. I'm giving this a quick dry, and I'm edging the page with a makeup sponge, and I believe I'm using the darker teal. Again, I have that paint on my palette, so I'm using it on the page. And at some point, and maybe it's here, I grab black because I want it more contrast. And remember, the sentiment is black. I fussy cut around the sentiment, but it has black lettering. So somehow I need to introduce black to the page. Otherwise, it just kind of, it looks a little odd in my thought process. So you can see I fussy cut most around it. It's a lazy fussy cut because you can still see some of the white, which I like because we've got white in the background. I'm putting that on there and then just using my usual matte medium, gel medium, matte finish to glue this down. If you don't have a collage paper with words on it, you can just journal on there, positive things for yourself, wishes that you're giving yourself, and journal on that and then paint on top of it. Some of it will show, some of it won't. Now I'm still trying to add some more black to it, so I'm going to use my fine line bottle and outline the page. And I would say 99% of the time I do this on every page. I just like the look of it. It is part of my finishing cycle. It sits for a bit and I'm still not happy, so I take some of that black and thin it down, and I'm going to splatter with the black. Again, I'm doing this so I introduce black into the background so it works with the black that's in the words. And instantly, as soon as the black hits the page, I'm going, yes, that's what I needed. So at this point, I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm thinking it's done. So much so, I took the final picture, here's the final picture, and several days go by, and I'm looking at it, and it seemed unfinished. So I grabbed my woodless charcoal pencil, and I apologize for the lighting. It's an evening, and the lighting in my studio is horrible. Now I'm trying here I'm thinking if I do more black on here where the stenciling is, and I try to rub that off, that didn't work. So I just grab a baby wipe and remove what I just did. Trying again to see if I can get this to be black and somehow if that's going to give me what am striving for in my head. And no. So again, I'm removing it with the baby wipe. So I'm about to give up, and then I think to myself, what would happen if I outline, go around the mandalas with black? And because the stenciling is very close together, I didn't want to use my fine line bottle. So I grabbed my micron pen and I just start outlining. I think, okay, I'll just do some of the mandala maybe. Because I know once I do this, I can't erase this. I can't get rid of this. This will be permanent. So I start. Just outlining it. Now you're going right next to texture, and this texture paste, and in fact everything on this page, is very, very dry. And that's really key when you're using these micron pens. It needs to be completely dry and cool, I find, because if it's warm, it doesn't work well. I've killed more pens and by doing it on wet paint. So as I'm going, I'm thinking, okay, I'm liking this effect. I think this works. And I just continue and I do all the pieces of all the mandalas on this page. And you're going to see a close-up of the finished page. Hopefully you agree with me that the black is a positive addition. See you with my next video. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, if only to say hi. Bye.